through the Great Lakes article. So we are learning about Lake Michigan. It is right on our doorstep here in Sheboygan. So I'm going to be reading through this article. So let's get started. The Great Lakes. Living resources. As an ecosystem, the Great Lakes Basin is a unit of nature in which living organisms and non-living things interact adaptively. An ecosystem is fueled by the sun, which provides energy in the form of light and heat. This energy warms the earth, the water, and the air, causing winds, currents, evaporation, and precipitation. The light energy of the sun is essential for the photosynthesis of green plants in water and on land. Plants grow when essential nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen are present with oxygen, inorganic carbon, and adequate water. Plant material is consumed in the water by zooplankton, which graze the waters for algae, and on land by plant-eating animals or herbivores. Next in the chain of energy transfer through the ecosystem are organisms that feed on other animals, carnivores, and those that feed on both animals and plants, omnivores. Together, these levels of consumption constitute the food chain, or web, a system of energy transfers through which an ecological community consisting of a complex of species is sustained. The population of each species is determined by a system of checks and balances based on factors such as the availability of food and the presence of predators, including disease organisms. Every ecosystem also includes numerous processes to break down accumulated biomass, or plants, animals, and their wastes, into the constituent materials and nutrients from which they originated. Decomposition involves microorganisms that are essential to the ecosystem because they recycle matter that can be used again. Stable ecosystems are sustained by the interactions that cycle nutrients and energy in a balance between available resources and the life that depends on those resources. In ecosystems, including the Great Lakes Basin, everything depends on everything else and nothing is ever really wasted. The ecosystem of the Great Lakes and the life supported within it have continuously altered with time. Through periods of climate change and glaciation, species moved in and out of the region. Some perished and others pioneered under changed circumstances. None of the changes, however, has been as rapid as that which occurred with the arrival of European settlers. When the first Europeans arrived in the basin nearly 400 years ago, it was a lush, thickly vegetated area. Vast timber stands consisting of oaks, maples, and other hardwoods dominated the southern areas. Only a very few small vestiges of the original forest remain today. Between the wooded areas or rich grasslands with growth as high as 2 or 3 meters or 7 to 10 feet. In the north, coniferous forests occupied the shallow sandy soils interspersed by bogs and other wetlands. The forest and grasslands supported a wide variety of life, such as moose in the wetlands and coniferous woods, and deer in the grasslands and brush forests of the south. The many waterways and wetlands were home to beaver and muskrat, which, with the fox, wolf, and other fur-bearing species, inhabited the mature forest lands. These were trapped and traded as commodities by the native people and the Europeans. Abundant bird populations thrived on the various terrains, some migrating to the south in winter, others making permanent homes in the basin. It is estimated that there were as many as 180 species of fish indigenous to the Great Lakes. Those inhabiting the nearshore areas included smallmouth and largemouth bass, muskellunge or muskie, northern pike, and channel catfish. In the open water were lake herring, blue pike, lake whitefish, walleye, sauger, freshwater drum, lake trout, and white bass. Because of the differences in the characteristics of the lakes, the species composition varied for each of the Great Lakes. Warm, shallow Lake Erie was the most productive, while deep Superior was the least. Changes in the species composition of the Great Lakes Basin in the last 200 years have been the result of human activities. Many native fish species have been lost by overfishing, habitat destruction, or the arrival of exotic or non-indigenous species, such as the lamprey and the alewife. Pollution, especially in the form of nutrient-loading and toxic contaminants, has placed additional stresses on fish populations. Other human-made stresses have altered reproductive conditions and habitats, causing some varieties to migrate or perish. Still, other effects on lake life result from damming, canal building, altering or polluting tributaries to the lakes in which spawning takes place, and where distinct ecosystems once thrived and contributed to the larger basin ecosystem. The food web is a simplified way of understanding the process by which organisms in higher trophic levels gain energy by consuming organisms at lower trophic levels. All energy in an ecosystem originates with the sun. The solar energy is transformed by green plants through a process of photosynthesis into stored chemical energy. This is consumed by plant-eating animals, which are in turn consumed as food. Humans are part of the food web. The concept of the food web explains how some persistent contaminants accumulate in an ecosystem and become biologically magnified. Note: this is a simplified representation of the food web showing the main pathways. Food or energy moves in the direction of the arrows. The driving force is sunlight. Depictions of the various organisms are not to scale. All right, everybody, that is our Great Lakes article. Hope that helped. Take care and have a great day.